Hey guys, it's the MMA Exchange. Let's break down the main event of UFC 317.
The MMA Exchange.
Alright guys, so the fight which this card was built around was, or is, Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title. Islam has vacated his lightweight belt, moving up to welterweight after Jack Della Maddalena defeated Belal Muhammad. Ilia Topuria, after knocking out Max Holloway, has decided to move up, aim to be a double champion, or a champion in 2 weight classes. All right, so let's first talk about Charles Oliveira. Before Charles lost to Islam Makhachev, his run at lightweight was Clay Guida, Christos Giagos, David Teema, Nick Lentz, Jared Gordon, Lucas Boros, Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson, and then he faced Michael Chandler for the vacant lightweight title due to Khabib retiring. After a dicey round 1 with his fight against Chandler where he got rocked multiple times and dropped, he came back and scored a round 2 knockout. 5 months later, he defends his belt against Dustin Poirier, which was via round 3 sub. In that fight is the fight that I look for in terms of a similar game plan that we can implement into the Topuria fight, because in round 1 Dustin was landing a few good shots, but Charles was so focused on kneeing and the elbows, and I think the kneeing and the clinching and the elbows is what's going to need to happen for Charles to secure a victory against Ilia Topuria. But we move on. After that, he fought Justin Gaethje, missed weight by 0.5 pounds, so he was stripped of the title. But every fighter on that card was 0.5 pounds over. So I think that was kind of rigged. He still won though via round 1 submission. But the common factor in Charles Oliveira fights is that he gets dropped. He gets rocked in every one of his fights. You know, got submitted against Islam Makhachev, he got rocked, then he got submitted. After that, he came back with a win. Round 1 head kick to ground and pound against Beneil Dariush. He then lost a very close fight against Arman Tsarukyan. And then in November last year, he won a decision against Michael Chandler. And in that fight, he was patient, using his wrestling, using his fight IQ more. But in round 5, that's when Chandler picked it up and he actually found his shot and had Charles in serious trouble. Now, the issue with Charles being more patient is that he gives his opponent more time to read, and then the ability to land that one powerful shot becomes higher as the rounds go on. As I said, he gets rocked in all of his fights because he does not move his head from the center line. Islam Makhachev is, foundation is a grappler. He's one of the best kickboxers out of the Dagestanis. But he dropped him, and the way that he was able to submit him, and the reason why he submitted Charles Oliveira is because he rocked him first, then went to the ground, okay? Now, Oliveira has taken a lot of damage, but the narrative of Charles being someone that gives up is something that we probably had to stop saying around the time when he fought Michael Chandler. Like, seriously, because yes, he moved to lightweight, lost against Paul Felder, but then after that went on a great run and something just clicked. Like, his mentality just changed. He lost against Arman, and he even said himself that he needs to fight more smart with a revised game plan. And now Charles can win, but how Charles can win is also how he can lose, because using knees and tie clinch and putting your weight on Ilia is great, but Ilia's patience and pressure, the boxing, the calf kicks, he's very quick as well, and packs power. Like, if I'm Charles, I am clinching knees and throwing elbows up against the fence, letting him waste his stamina. But then the longer the fight goes, the more risk you have, than for Topuria to land his shot. Now, we also have a photo that I'm going to put up on the screen where you have Raul Rosas Jr. and Charles Oliveira standing next to him. Raul Rosas is 2 weight classes down, and he's making Ilia look small, so that's something to look at. Now, with Ilia, his bantamweight, his UFC debut was against a last-minute replacement in Yusuf Zalal, who is having a resurgence as of recently. He then beat Damian Jackson by KO. round 1 KO against Ryan Hall. And then the fight that everyone's using to break down this fight, which is his lightweight fight against Jai Herbert. Ilia Topuria was a last-minute replacement for Herbert's opponent. This fight doesn't mean shit because he didn't build himself into a lightweight frame. Ilia has leveled up so much after that fight. So went to submit Bryce Mitchell, win a decision against Emmett. Then my boy Volk got KO'd, which is a fucking PTSD, bro. Volk got KO'd, then he KO'd Max Holloway, and now looks to finish Charles. And the jumping competition that I have to look back on was the jump between Emmett and Volk was so big. I didn't think that, you know, yeah, Volk was coming off a knockout loss, but I thought the skill difference between, you know, Volk and Emmett would be a lot too much for Ilia to handle. But yeah, Ilia comes with this confidence that he's pre-built in his mind that he's going to, like for him, he's already won the fight before the fight has even happened. That can be good and bad, because if it doesn't go your way, I feel like that your confidence can go, like get shot completely to the other side. Ilia, like mentioned before, great boxing, good calf kicks, especially against grapplers who need that lead leg to shoot takedowns. But you know, which I think Charles should aim to do, trying mixing it up. Charles has been rocked and dropped a number of times. Then he uses the fear that his opponents have of going to the ground with him, and that didn't work when you went up against Arman Tsarukyan. And I think that the grappling, even if Ilia tries to engage in the grappling, it's going to be very more like Arman Tsarukyan, where you're going to be chest to chest. You're not going to give Charles space to work his jiu-jitsu. And when you are striking from top position, you were just landing a few shots and then going back into the guard. You're not giving Charles the opportunity to work his triangles and all that kind of stuff. Ilia, though, his background's wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and he has developed his boxing throughout his career, which is crazy that we always think about Ilia as a boxer and not as a grappler in terms of his foundation. But yeah, look, Ilia has the better fight IQ, a more well-rounded skill set, in my opinion. He has power, composure. Ilia, you know, the composure of Ilia mixed with the pressure that Charles is going to bring to Topuria. Topuria will use that to feed into his game plan. Look, I'm picking Ilia to win via TKO, but I want Charles to win because what a comeback that would be, your second title reign at lightweight. But if I'm Charles, I am clinching, kneeing, I'm using my size advantage, I'm taping to the body. And yeah, look, I hope Charles wins, but as an analyst, I have to pick Ilia Topuria by TKO, I think round 3 or round 4. But guys, thank you for watching my video. I know this is just a short or a 10-minute TikTok video, but I do aim to post 2 to 3 videos per week on my YouTube channel at the MMA Exchange. So please go to my bio on TikTok, look, press the link and like, share, subscribe, do all that. And yeah, very excited for the fight tomorrow. Also, co-main event, Pantoja versus Hyder France. Hyder France has been mislabeled as a knockout artist. You knocked out Cody Garbrandt, that cut down to 125. You then knocked out Steve Ercik, who is built like a pencil. And before that, you knocked out Rogerio Bontorin. So for you being in the UFC, I mean, you know, to be in the UFC since 2018, and you have like 3 knockouts, like you're not really a knockout artist. But I think that we get so, you know, wowed when we see a knockout at flyweight. But I think as the newer generation comes up, like, you know, we see Joshua Van, you know, really good power. I think the future of the flyweight division is going to be more knockouts. I think Pantoja, his grappling style, when he grapples, it's not really to get you down to the floor. It's more to just grab a limb, take your back, you know, do whatever he wants. His jiu-jitsu is much better. He's stronger, he's bigger. His striking is good enough to get past Hyder France, and I'm seeing this ending in a round 3 submission. Now, guys, the fight that I'm most excited about is Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval is a lanky volume striker, and that's great when you're up against Van, because Van, you know, could have the, you know, the tendency to let the fight get away from him. You know, round 1 is a feeler, then you have round 2, round 3, and so forth. I think, you know, the game plan of Brandon Royval is jab, calf kick, because in Van's last fight, he was his opponent landed really strong calf kicks. Now, granted, Van did win by round 3, TKO / knockout, and he was, dropping his opponent quite often. I think the ranginess of Royval will be a problem, but a bit different to how we saw Charles Johnson fight him. I think in that fight was a little bit different. I think he's leveled up his game plan. He's really honed in on his skill set, improved his takedown defense. I don't think, and also the power difference between Johnson and Royval is very different. When Royval strikes, it's striking just to build numbers. I don't think it's striking to deal damage and hurt. Now, that's good for Van because he can use that as reads, and he can use knowing that Royval doesn't have the power to put him away. Do I see Royval constantly going for the calf kick, constantly trying to take down Van? I think he'll aim for calf kicks, but I don't think he'll try and take Van down. And even if he does try, I don't think he'll be successful. I think where Van will have the advantage is mixing up the punches to the body and the head and really using that pressure boxing style, similar to Ilia, to his advantage. So I believe actually we are going to see, look, I hope for a knockout to happen, but I think that we see Joshua Van round decision. And that's crazy, man. 3 weeks notice, he steps up, biggest opportunity of his career. I want to see Van get it done. We have Viviane Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. Gilbert Burns said that he doesn't think that his own teammate is going to win against Tracy Cortez. So I'm just going with Tracy Cortez right there. I'm not getting into it that much because, no offense, it's a women's fight. And most of them go to a decision, and I don't rate any of those fighters. Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. I think Renato Moicano will win this fight because Beneil Dariush has the power. He has great wrestling. The grappling will cancel each other out, but I think Renato Moicano has more accuracy. He has better clinch work, elbows, knees, and I think we see round 1 be dicey, but then round 1 and round 2 be Renato. Then round 3, I feel like Renato might get rocked, but it's not enough to finish him. Beneil Dariush is coming off a 2-year layoff, and that long of a layoff and also being 36 doesn't mix well. He's coming off of 2 knockouts, and yes, he has taken time to recover and to heal fully, but I just think that 2 years is too much, and Renato has been consistent. He is coming off a loss against Islam Makhachev, but that was 24 hours notice. He has been rocked against Jalen Turner, but I think that the way that he fights now is much more composed, and he has a different mentality to fighting. So I think he's going to try and mix up his grappling to set up the clinches, to set up the strikes, and I think we see Renato Moicano by decision. And the opener of the main event is Payton Talbott versus Felipe Lima. Payton Talbott's going to lose, guys. Felipe Lima is going to win this by either a knockout or submission. He is the hottest prospect out of Brazil. Payton Talbott got dominated by Ronnie Barcelos due to grappling. Felipe Lima has great grappling, really good power. I think we see Felipe aim for the calf kicks to slow down the footwork of Talbott, and I see him getting a finish. Payton Talbott, I still think he's too comfortable, and I don't think he's in a camp that pushes him to his limits. If Barcelos was in the octagon that night with Felipe Lima, we would be seeing a fucking murder charge on Felipe Lima, because if you haven't noticed, Barcelos has had a neck fusion surgery in his past, which makes his head tilt to the side. So he's literally permanently like this. And if I'm Payton Talbott, man, and if I have great coaching around me, I'm aiming for that all the time, because it takes you more to move your head from side to side, especially from that side that your head's tilted at. There's more distance to cover. So if I'm trying to go for a punch, aiming it for this side of the face, and if it's a hook, I'm trying to move away from the hook. There is more distance for me to move. So yeah, Felipe Lima will win against Payton Talbott. I think when a prospect like Payton Talbott loses, they need more than one loss to really change their game. So I think he'll lose this and then he'll come back stronger. But for now, I'm picking Felipe Lima.